Blair was exciting. And they were young enough to look young and to feel as though, yes, let's give them a go now.
And looking back, there wasn't actually that much between them politically.
No, there wasn't. Well, no.
They're good friends now.
Yeah, and of course, Tony Blair was seen as sort of son of Thatcher, wasn't he?
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
Which is why people don't warm to him now.
But isn't that strange? Because, yes, son of Thatcher, and then, of course, when David Cameron got in 2010, it was all about being heir to Blair.
Yeah, crazy.
It's all about, but again, it just reiterates, it's about centre ground. I know that's what a lot of you are fed up with the centre ground, and we know from the messages we get, but that's what wins an election.
Yeah, but the very
ultimately.
nature of those words, centre ground, don't sound exciting. So you have to give it an exciting edge somehow, don't you?
That's true. Anyway, we'll have all the details for you as the campaign reaches these final days. Both Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer ramping up the rhetoric as they try to win over every single voter.
So the Prime Minister is on the attack today and warning that Labour is going to wreck Britain in just 100 days.
Keir Starmer, however, dismissing all that as being desperate as he promises to relight the fire of optimism.
While Reform UK have dropped 3 of their candidates following reports they'd made offensive or racist comments, and Nigel Farage says he wants nothing to do with them.
Well, let's talk to a journalist from Labour list, Kathleen Clark. Morning to you, Kathleen. Rishi Sunak's got a point, hasn't he, when he says, well, look, Labour could wreck the economy within 100 days, because we don't really know what's going on. We're constantly told everything is costed in the manifesto, but the IFS says, well, that's not good enough, so we don't know what they're going to do.
Good morning, Anne. Good morning, Stephen. And best of luck to England on the match today. We'll all be watching. Look, Keir Starmer was out yesterday in force in central London, having big backing from Elton John and Bill Bailey. He's quite clearly 20 points ahead in the polls now. I can't see Rishi making this up. We've only got a few days left. The question now becomes is, can he get out the vote? Will people actually go to the polls and support him? And if so, what happens on Friday morning if he becomes Prime Minister?
Yes, if he becomes Prime Minister. What's the feeling amongst people out there that it is going to happen? We get the feeling very much from Labour that they're terrified of becoming complacent, because, particularly their voters becoming complacent. Is there a sense of excitement? We've been debating the fact that it doesn't feel that way.
I understand why you might say that in a studio, but I've been out on the campaign trail for the last 39 days. And let me tell you, I have never seen so many activists. I've never seen so much support. And I've never seen so many people on the doorstep telling me they're voting Labour for the first time. I was up in the East Midlands yesterday. I'll be in Bristol today. I've been in Thanet. I've been in Mansfield. I've been all over the place. And I can really tell you, this has been an incredible campaign. And Labour activists are fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, Labour activists might be, but what about the rest of the population? I mean, look, if you're out campaigning, that's one thing. That's a slightly skewed perspective in a way. But when you go around just meeting ordinary people in the supermarket, just having a chat, the number of people who say either, I'm not going to bother this year, or I just don't know who to vote for at the moment with less than a week to go. That's a huge concern, isn't it? Because it's not just about who's going to win. It's about the fact that no one has grabbed the attention, apart from perhaps Reform UK, where there is enthusiasm, but no one has grabbed people's attention and desire to really go and have their voice heard.
Well, Reform and Labour do have really similar messages in the sense that they're saying the country is broken, nothing works, and we are crying out for change. So I'm not surprised that Nigel and his team have done so well in the past few weeks. But we're not taking any vote for granted on the Labour side, and getting out that vote is going to be really, really important this week. Another thing I am looking for is voter turnout. I think that's going to give us a big indication on Friday, Saturday and Sunday about how well this campaign has actually done.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting one, because some pollsters predict that it's going to be a dramatically low turnout. How do you feel about that? And how can Keir Starmer and others, I guess, implore us all to get out and vote?
Well, we are doing everything we can. I can tell you the Labour movement we've done everything we can, and we will be able to say on Thursday at 10 p.m. There is no more doors that we could have knocked. I've been out almost every day in this campaign. So we are doing everything we can. Look, I think the last final days, let's be really clear, it's about hounding those messages that this country needs change. You're going to see Keir Starmer and his team doing that, and you're also going to see the Greens and the Lib Dems and Reform doing the same thing. And it is what people could vote for and a future they could have over what we currently have, which is something that really nobody wants.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because you started off by saying there's huge enthusiasm for Labour. Well, look, if that turnout is less than what, 50%, really, that proves that the message hasn't got out, that there isn't that enthusiasm, people queuing up at the polling station to vote for change.
I think the turnout will be over 50%, but let's have a conversation this time next week when we really know the scores on the doors. I think also voter ID is a big issue. This is going to be the first time in a general election where people will have to bring voter ID to the polls. I have spoken to a series of older voters who, just because they're in their 70s, 80s and 90s, didn't know they needed voter ID, or just don't have it, didn't know it was a thing, didn't know they needed it. So I think this is going to be an issue. This is the first time voter ID will play a major issue at a general election campaign.
Yes, that's very interesting, isn't it? 'Cause, I think a lot of people don't realise.
OK.